A lot of people consider the row to be a sort of fundamental exercise to include in a training program, and I don't really see it this way. Now, as a strength and muscle builder, I think it's inferior to the pull-up and the chin-up. And this doesn't mean that it won't build any muscle or strength in your back, but I just don't think it's as effective as the pull-up and chin-up are in building back muscle and pulling strength. And the reasons for this are pretty simple, and I think it comes down to the strength curve and the range of motion. So if we look at the row, we look at the range of motion, you can see that it trains the lats only through about half the range of motion of a pull-up or chin-up. And it also completely eliminates that intense stretch at the bottom of a dead hang pull-up or chin-up. And if you look at the strength curve of the row, it's probably the worst strength curve of any compound exercise. So it's really, really easy at the first half of the range of motion, and then the second half of the range of motion becomes very, very difficult. And as soon as you build up any sort of fatigue, the first part of the range of motion is still easy, and then the second half of the range of motion becomes almost impossibly difficult, and this really cuts down on the productivity of the exercise because you just can't access the full range of motion productively. Now, that being said, I still think rows are useful in certain contexts. For instance, if you're not strong enough to do a pull-up and you can't accumulate enough volume with pull-ups to actually get a good growth response and good fitness gains from the pull-up, well then rows become a viable option as a way to build up general strength and muscle. While they're not as productive as pull-ups and chin-ups for building muscle, they can still build muscle, especially in untrained, under-muscled individuals. So, while you're working on your pull-up strength, doing things like negatives and isometric holds and singles, it's going to be really, really productive to include some rowing in there so that you can actually build enough volume to build muscle. Because trying to build muscle with singles and negatives and static holds is very, very hard. And trying to build strength without a muscular base is just a slow, unproductive process. So use the row to build some muscle. Use the pull-up variations like the isometric holds and the negatives to build the strength from that muscle. The second useful application I find for rows is building some scapular strength. So the muscles of the scapular retractors specifically. Now you can train these muscles with the pull-up very productively, doing the sort of chest up, arched back, shoulder blades squeezed. That form that I frequently talk about as a way to build the upper back musculature. Well, if you're not strong enough to do that, then rows can serve as a great regression for building that scapular strength. So this is just my opinion on how rows fit into a program, right? Okay, so they're not the primary back movement. They're an excellent regression for the pull-up and the chin-up, which are more productive movements overall, but they are also excellent exercises for training the scapular retractors if you need strength in that particular area. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this time. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.